A lot of Sword Art Online fanboys wish that the actual game within the show was real, but that's not gonna happen. In this video, I'll explain why Sword Art Online will never be a real game. Financial disaster. Sword Art Online sold 10,000 copies in total. If each copy cost the standard rate of $60 for a AAA game, then that would be $600,000. There's no possible way that Sword Art Online was profitable for the company. In Film Theory's video about the cost of Sword Art Online, he estimated that it would be about $485 million, and that doesn't include the marketing or distribution costs, so the final cost will be over $500 million. Sword Art Online doesn't have any microtransactions in the game, so needs to rely on sales for income. Therefore, Sword Art Online would be the biggest gaming flop ever. Not fun. Sword Art Online would not be a fun game to play. Just look at how bored Kirito gets when he's training his fishing skill. You have to manually perform every single action in the game. You don't simply click a button, and it automatically does everything for you. It would be very tedious to do stuff in Sword Art Online. People play games as an escape from real life. Being too realistic is not a good feature. Sword Art Online is going to be like what happened to the virtual reality games in the Full Dive anime series. People are going to get sick and tired of playing Sword Art Online pretty quickly. Lack of interest. MMORPGs are not nearly as popular as they once were. The MMORPG genre is slowly dying out, and people are choosing to play other types of games, such as first-person shooters and battle royales. Several MMORPGs have been shut down due to the lack of players. Some examples include WildStar, Club Penguin, and Terra. If virtual reality MMORPGs exist, then other virtual reality games must also exist as well. Most people would probably rather play a virtual reality first-person shooter or a virtual reality battle royale game over a virtual reality MMORPG like Sword Art Online. Real death. Even without the nerve gear destroying the player's brains when they die in Sword Art Online, there would still be many cases of real death. Countless people have actually died while playing video games because they got too addicted and they forgot to take a break to eat or sleep. For instance, a gamer in Taiwan died from exhaustion after playing League of Legends for 23 hours straight. Cases like this would definitely happen too if Sword Art Online was a real game, especially since the only way to log out of the game is for the player to actually press the logout button themselves. Bad game design. There's a ton of game mechanics in Sword Art Online that don't make sense. YouTuber Mother's Basement has already made a video breaking down Sword Art Online's terrible game design. Here's a bunch of other reasons why Sword Art Online would be a bad game. Quests are a big part of MMORPGs. It's fascinating to learn about the lore and backstory of the game world, but the quests in Sword Art Online seem to be simple fetch and collect quests. That's literally the most boring type of quest you can come up with. The quests in Sword Art Online should be deep and a lot more complex than that. MMORPG players love to customize their character and acquire different outfits. We don't see this at all in Sword Art Online though. The players are literally wearing the same exact outfit for like a year. If Sword Art Online was a real game, I'm pretty sure you would be seeing people switching outfits every day. It would have been exciting to see what kinds of outfits you could get in Sword Art Online, and how players will combine different outfit pieces to make their own unique look. There's a bunch of different skills in Sword Art Online. Apparently the game has an unlimited amount of skills, but we don't actually see many of the skills in Sword Art Online. The ones we do see are just the basic and generic skills, like cooking, fishing, and smithing, which you can pretty much find in any MMORPG with a skilling system. If Sword Art Online truly had an unlimited amount of skills, then we should have seen what kind of distinctive skills the game had to offer. One of the big reasons why people love playing MMORPGs is the bossing aspect. It's very fun and exciting to fight the bosses. Unfortunately, the same thing cannot be said about the bosses in the Sword Art Online game. In fact, the bosses in Sword Art Online are really poorly designed. And if Sword Art Online was a real game, then I doubt anyone would play the game to kill bosses. Here's a list of 5 reasons why the Sword Art Online bosses are terrible. Number 1. Bosses don't respawn. The biggest problem with the bosses in Sword Art Online is that they don't respawn. So after the first group of players defeat a boss, nobody else in the game can ever fight that boss again. And there's only one server in Sword Art Online, so it's not like a server only thing either. That's gotta be the worst game design I've ever seen in my life. Why would they do this? Who would want to play a game where you can only fight a boss one time, and only one group of players can ever get the chance to kill the boss? A game like Sword Art Online would never be able to exist in real life. It takes a lot of development time to create and design a single boss. No company would bother spending that kind of resources on bosses that can only be killed one time by one group of players. Also, if you started playing Sword Art Online a bit later than the other players, then you're never going to get the opportunity to fight the bosses, because you're always going to be behind the top players, and the top players are going to be the ones killing the bosses. It only worked in the show because every player started at the same time, but people in real life don't all start playing an MMORPG on the exact same day as each other. Number 2. Bosses don't drop anything. Another problem is that bosses don't drop anything, literally nothing. Anyone who's ever played an MMORPG knows that the best armor and weapons in the game come from boss drops. The harder the boss, the better the reward. But if the bosses in Sword Art Online don't drop anything, where are you supposed to get the best gear in the game? Even if the bosses in in Sword Art Online did respawn, it's not like you would be able to farm them over and over again for drops and or money, because you don't get any drops and or money. Why would they design it like that? Furthermore, there would be no incentive to ever fight the bosses. Sure, they give a little bit of XP when they're killed, but that can't be the most efficient way to train your skills. Who would want to fight the bosses in Sword Art Online? What's the point? It's not like there's a way to even tell who the first players were that defeated the bosses. They added the Monument of the Swordsman to New Aincrad in Alfheim Online, which displays the names of players who helped defeat the floor bosses of New Aincrad. However, that didn't exist in Sword Art Online, so you don't even know who were the first players to defeat a boss. Number 3. Bosses don't have any mechanics. It's a lot of fun learning the mechanics of a new boss. However, the bosses in Sword Art Online don't seem to have any mechanics. It's literally just a simple fight where you try to stay alive, and get the boss's HP down as quickly as possible. That's the most boring type of fight you can imagine. The combat in old school RuneScape is a lot more interesting. For example, how did Kirito defeat the Gleam Eyes? He simply just attacked it until its HP reached 0. There was nothing special that Kirito had to do. No mechanics that had to be done to defeat the boss. In a lot of MMORPGs that would literally be impossible to do. If you don't do the mechanics properly, you wouldn't be able to kill the boss. Number 4. Bosses don't have any diversity. Every single boss in Sword Art Online is located in some bland and boring dungeon room. That would get dull pretty quickly. There's no variety or diversity, and they can't even do anything to change it with the way that Sword Art Online is designed. Every floor boss room in Sword Art Online is located at the end of the labyrinth. You can't find the floor bosses in the sky, or in a temple or underwater or anything like that. Furthermore, there's only melee combat in Sword Art Online, so that means all the bosses would need to have close range attacks, which again means that there would be no diversity at all. Every boss fight would just be a rinse and repeat of an earlier boss fight. Like, what's the difference between Ilfang, the Kobo Lord, and the Gleam Eyes? Both bosses use a melee weapon, and they both attack by using close range melee combat. Number 5. Bosses don't have any requirements. In Sword Art Online, any player can just walk into a boss room and fight the boss. You don't need any prior qualifications or requirements. That's not how it works in MMORPGs. The hardest bosses are locked behind very high level and or quest requirements. For example, if you want to fight Telos in RuneScape, you need at least level 80 in attack, prayer, magic, and ranged. And that's just the bare minimum. You should have level 99 in all those skills if you want to kill Telos efficiently and effectively. That's not the case in Sword Art Online though. Anyone can enter any boss room and fight any boss whenever they feel like it. Also, there's no solid limit when it comes to player group size, so you can just enter a boss room with a group of 100 players and cheese your way through a kill without putting in much effort. That's not how it should be, and that's why Sword Art Online will never be a real game. The fanboys can keep dreaming because it's not gonna happen. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a future upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.